a lot of people have been struggling and a lot of people have been going through stuff. But as you know, Tim, some people fought, some people folded. And you're looking at
hmm
two guys right here, Tim and myself. We are fighters and we are never going to stop. We're always going to make sure business is handled.
Hi, I'm Tim Bratz, and every week I sit down with the top influential entrepreneurs in the country to discuss how to leave a true legacy in all things happiness, health, wealth, and wisdom. This is the Legacy Podcast. What's up, guys? Tim Bratz here with the Legacy Podcast. I have a long-term buddy with me, Dave Payerchin, talking about, we've been rapping for the past 10, 15 minutes about life over the past 3-4 years. And how a lot of things for a lot of investors have changed dramatically, right? Like everything from going from personal health and priorities on that side, relationships, business, going through the growth phase, the reduction phase, the cleanup phase, all of that stuff. And we're going to be diving into every single bit of it. So Dave runs the Columbus Real Estate and Money group, and so they do all things in real estate. They flip and wholesale and hold and have management and all sorts of different stuff. And he's somebody that I have a lot of respect for. I've had a great relationship with for the past decade or so, through different mastermind groups and connections, and just a great person. And so Dave has, I want to dive into all this, man. Couple beautiful children at home, lost 40 pounds over the past couple of years. Cleaned up $14 million in debt from deals that have gone sideways, bad partnerships, and he's just locked in mentally, physically, relationally, spiritually, financially across the board right now. And I'm excited to talk with you, man. I know when we're going through it, it's like, dude, I shouldn't be talking about this from open wounds, right? I need to be preaching from scars, and we all have plenty of them. And there's a lot of awesome lessons that you've learned that we were talking about offline, and I'm excited to dive into all of it to try to help and improve and provide a lot of value for everyone else. So welcome, brother.
So much growth comes from the adversity. You know it too, bro. I mean, you have been around the block. I remember when we first met. I mean, we've just both been around the block, and the most personal growth and professional growth has come from the adversity, right? It's just that,
100%.
especially what we've seen over the last several years, and people are just getting smoked out there, and we got smoked. I had over 50 properties in default, and used them for collateral to get involved in other deals I shouldn't have been doing with partners I shouldn't have been with. I still have my first and foremost business partner, RJ Pepino. We're thick as thieves. Everything's good there. I'm talking about some outsiders, some
Yep.
outstate guys, and partnered up with some people, collateralized our assets to get involved. That partnership imploded. So did the properties that I put up for the collateral. That's how that works. It's like a domino effect. So we had to pay all that shit off. So a lot of people have been struggling and a lot of people have been going through stuff. But as you know, Tim, some people fought, some people folded. And you're looking at
hmm
two guys right here, Tim and myself. We are fighters and we are never going to stop. We're always going to make sure business is handled.
I love it. And I'll tell you what, I've learned so many lessons. I mean, you learn lessons all the time, but obviously real estate's been 36 months has been pretty tough on
Yeah.
rental real estate, right? It was so good and so easy for so long. Um, and then all of a sudden, just everything, dude, there was arrows from every different direction. And when you have a 12-year bull run in real estate where everybody's making money, and uh, you can't mess up a deal in Columbus, Ohio or Cleveland, Ohio when you're buying them for $50,000 a door, right? And
Right.
renting them for $900 or $1,200 a month. It's like, it's hard to screw that up. And then all of a sudden, 2019, 2020, 2021, and there's other deals and there's flashiness, and you've had so much success for so long, and it's been so easy for so long that you're like, yeah, I can partner with this guy, and even if they screw it up or whatever, I can step in. But you have enough of those things that happen, and you see like it's I've seen bad partners when you make a lot of money, and I've seen bad partners when you lose a lot of money. But you really get to understand somebody when they're losing money and say, hey, how are we going to show up? How are we going to solve this for our investors? I've been on phone calls with people who are like, hey, let's get ready. I hope everybody's cool with giving this property back to the bank and all of our investors losing all their money, because that's what's going to happen here. And they're just shrugging their shoulders on it. And I'm like, No, that's not what's going to friggin' happen here. We're going to go and inject more of our own capital in this. I'm going to move my executives to the property. We're going to turn this thing around, bring management in house. Here's what the plan looks like. And other people, dude, it's insane to me that more people don't have that mindset. And it's very rare to see what you've been able to do and what we've been able to do. We were talking offline, like, dude, it is far more people have handed back properties and lost all their investment money than have kept and stood up and fought through this. Even though, guess what? There's properties that aren't paying prefs in my portfolio that we're still trying to turn around. And I could hand back. I could sell it right now for what the loan amount is, and all the investors lose their money. And I have investors chirping at me saying, dude, what the fuck is happening right now? Why isn't this thing turned around? I'm like, dude, I'm trying, right? We're doing all that, but the buyers aren't out there. And you got two options, dude. You can either sell your stuff right now and cement a loss that nobody wants to do. Or, dude, I'm a big believer. I do think the rental real estate market is going to frigging crush the second half of this decade. I think it's going to go, it's going to be amazing. I think all the statistics show there's going to be a severe supply shortage. There's still a lot of demand. There's so much money on the sidelines. And I do think that rents are going to jump up. There's no new product hitting the market. You can't build a house or build a multifamily for what you can buy it for right now. And so it's like, I do think that it's going to be very, very good. And so I've been having that conversation of like, let's not make dumb decisions and make bad long-term decisions based on short-term circumstances. And I think that's something that you've done really well over the past few years of saying, hey, like these are temporary circumstances. We're not going to make permanent decisions, right? We're going to always make a best decision for what the long-term play is here. And so talk a little bit about kind of life happening, business happening, the kids being born and your health going sideways, and just paint that picture briefly on how did it get to that point for you and the bad decisions that were made in order to then have the Cinderella story that you've created.
Sure. First and foremost, you and I are fighters and we're getting through this, and there's a lot of uncomfortable conversations, right? It is what it is, right?
Yeah. Hey,
And something that you
but
have,
we lean into that, right? Instead of it hitting
absolutely,
us in the
bro.
face, we go and try to like hit it in the face first and try to proactively approach that. Dude, the people who get in trouble are the ones who try to hide from those difficult
Correct.
conversations, you know?
Correct. Problems avoided are problems multiplied.
Oh, I like that.
That's the fucking truth. You can edit that out. I don't know if you're saying F
We'll
bombs
leave
on
that
your
in.
thing, but it's a big ego thing. So what you said, I mean, we were in a 12-year bull run. Everybody's a genius in a bull market, right? You could get away with sloppy rehabs. You can get away with paying too much in a bull run, in a bull market like we've had. But then, like Warren Buffett says, the tide goes out and you see who's swimming naked. That's the situation we just experienced. And, people, and it affected everybody's ego, a lot of people's ego, including my own, right? Of course, there's some pride when it comes to we put ourselves out there, success, this and that and the other. So we got to be able to
If
withstand
you're a
that.
good person, it should affect your ego, right? It
Yeah,
should
straight
absolutely.
up.
There's some sociopath people that I know that they're still just like psychos, man. Like they have zero concern for other people's feelings or what's happening, and they're not learning their lesson either, right? You're a good person, so you should be aware. And if you are either investing or partnered with somebody who's like, hey, I gotta absorb this ego, man, and I need to like get back to the basics and do the revenue generating activities and get these things back,
Absolutely.
dude, that's a very powerful and good person to be partnered up with. If you're
Amen.
partnered with somebody who's just like completely uh, unaware, right, and not socially aware and not personally aware, that's somebody I'd be more concerned with. So sorry, keep going.
You're good. First and foremost, though, we, both of us, and anyone who's actually facing their challenges right now, that's the biggest thing. It's like this death, this ego death. But the person you become out of that is just amazing. And for us, Tim, we used to have this big Columbus, Ohio flipping business. We had 16 people on our team at one point. 16 people. Now I'm sitting to you in front of the place. It's me, RJ, and we got three VAs, and we're more profitable and more productive now with a small team than we were with the 16 people. Everybody got into the whole book traction, Gino Wickman. We're gonna build this scale, scale, scale. That was the big buzzword, and we got caught up in that as well. And there are appropriate ways to scale. And in fact, I mean, anyone who wants to grow, scaling is great. It's all good. But people were just, including us, I can only speak on ourselves. We were just scaling to scale. We were hiring people and just the overhead. It's like this constant rat race. We're flipping a ton of properties, but we're not making any more money. That was a huge thing. So when shit started to hit the fan, the first thing that we did was gutted our team. And that's tough too. Some people that you're working with for many years, you sit down and be like, hey, we're back on property taxes on all these properties. All these properties, we're not even paying the banks. We got to go face the music on this. We can't afford to pay a marketing guy anymore. We got to figure it out and put the hat on and do things ourselves. So the first thing we did, which really kind of killed the ego, was chopping our team. We are a very lean and mean team right now, and it's great because it's actually profitable, and we need the profits from the flips because we're still paying private lenders back. That's another thing, Tim. Guys like us who are here and fighting and willing to have the tough conversations, guess who's going to have a Rolodex of tens of millions of dollars of private lenders here in the coming months, years, and in the future? It's the guys who stood in there like us,
Hmm.
right? We gotta there Everything is contraction and expansion, and we went through this massive expansion phase. Now we're in a contraction phase, but we got to get in there and fight every single day. It's like a slingshot, bro. The further you pull back a slingshot, you stretch and stretch, you stretch this. Well, when you finally let that thing go, they're the ones who are stretched the hardest sail the farthest, right? So we're in a spot right now. It's a contraction phase, small team, doing a lot of wholesaling, doing a lot of novations, still buying some rentals. Picked one up in Toledo last week.
Pause
Yeah,
1 second. One thing that I have realized, like to your point, because I know I'm going to forget this if you keep on
sure, you're
going,
good.
is the biggest, like, brilliant move on your part. Is I just want to give you accolades for it because the biggest reason businesses go out of business is for lack of cash flow. The number one reason for lack of cash flow is too much overhead. The number one expense in overhead is typically salaries and staff, right? So you went and looked at that number and you said, hey, we got to chop this thing, right? We got to reduce the staff, which sucks, especially for guys like us who absolutely love people. But the reality of the situation is you needed to make this thing a viable business, right? And you needed to feed the baby. And there's certain things that you got to make really, really tough decisions. But that's a smart move. All right, so keep going. I just want to acknowledge that and your first actionable step, which is taking a look at the books and seeing where you're spending all your money and trying to reduce those line items.
And some people won't even face that, bro. Some people, it's just you don't even want to face it. There's fear, and there's just like people feel like a loser, right? Because for me, Tim, during the good times and the 12-year bull run and all this stuff, I was carrying some secrets around, and the biggest secret was my drinking, bro. So I have a massive addictive personality, and I'm coming to you now, and I talk about this on all podcasts and my social media. I don't care anymore. I'm like authentic, I'm real. But I have struggled with substances, aimly really anything you put in me, but aimly like alcohol and cocaine. Like you put those two things in me, and it's just like I'll go on benders, bro. Like I've done this for my whole life, and I've always struggled with it, always kept it a big secret and stuff like that. So during all these bull run, these good quote unquote good years, I was so checked out, bro, and massive ego, and it was just like I was just checked out. I didn't know I was trusting everybody but not verifying anything, losing money. We've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars with contractors and stuff like that. My head was completely in the sand. So, in this contraction phase, in this turnaround phase that we're discussing in this conversation, the biggest thing that I possibly could have done was quit all substances, all of it, bro. So, I quit all alcohol. It'll be 3 years. I quit everything. I'm not somebody who's going to sit in front of you and be like, oh, I'm against anyone who drinks. Bro, my soon-to-be wife, Lindsay, she has a glass of wine every night. We sit there when we're winding down because she's not me, bro. It is my mindset. I have this
Yep.
addictive personality, which is absolutely insane. I'm not against people who drink. I was at a birthday party over the weekend. Everybody's having their cocktails, mimosas in the morning. It's all good. I do not care. It's just not for me. So I had to remove that, bro. I had to completely remove that, but I had to focus that.
What would you
Yeah.
say to somebody who's kind of realizes it's a problem? Like, what's the easiest way, or the not the easy? I'm sure it's not easy at all. What's the thing that's really helped you in just completely cutting it cold turkey because you knew that you needed to make a different decision and go down a different path?
So here's the deal, bro. And this is going to be some of the most valuable freaking advice. And you know who you are. If you're listening to this right now, you know if you've been struggling with this. You know if you got it in you. And the biggest thing is when you're quitting, the hardest thing is to tell other people that you actually quit. Because a lot of our peers, including my soon to be wife, everybody still drinks, man, but they're not you. You're the type of person who's like me. You got that itch inside you where you just can't stop. And it's hard to tell people that you don't drink anymore because everybody, is like, why don't you drink? Do you have problems? And we just feel there's this massive burden with telling people that you quit. I don't know what it is, but it's real. So you got to find a good way to tell people that you quit. And I'm going to share with you right now the best way to tell people why you quit. This is the script. This is the thing that's going to make it so easy for you, and you can pursue a life with no substances, and no one's going to give you shit for the rest of your life. It's going to be wonderful. You're going to be confident. So there's two kinds of people in this world. There are switches and there are dials. A dial is somebody like you or somebody like Lindsay or somebody like the 90% of the population where you want to go have a good time, you have a drink, you dial up a little buzz, you have a couple drinks, but then you end up going to bed and you wake up in the morning and you have a productive day and it is what it is. You had a couple drinks. Great. That's a dial. They dial up a buzz and dial it right back down. Then you have a switch. When they introduce external substances to their system, something happens in their brain chemistry, and this has been tested. This is not, I'm not a scientist here. I didn't make this up. This is proven in laboratories that certain people, when you introduce these external substances, the endorphins in their brain fire around. It's like fireworks going off in the brain, and that switch gets flipped, and it is off to the races, and it is nonstop until you pass out. And then you wake up and you got to do the hair of the dog and you got to just keep this thing going, and it could go for days. It is a switch mentality. That switch gets flipped. So the best way to tell people that you quit drinking is exactly what I just shared. You're a dial. There's many dials out there. Totally fine. Love the dials. I'm a switch. And just tell people that way, I'm a switch. So I don't drink at all. So being able to tell people that, it makes it more relatable. And many people, like I said, 90% of the people are just, dials. It's totally normal. It's totally cool. But when you can explain why you don't, drink, and I hate like the word alcoholic. It sounds like something's wrong with you. And I don't do AA meetings. I don't do anything like
Yeah.
that. But I needed to find a way to tell people why I quit drinking and why I quit all substances without sounding like this like negative victim weak person.
Love that. This episode of the Legacy Podcast is brought to you by Legacy Family Mastermind. I know what you're going through. I know you feel stuck in small deals, trying to figure out how do you get to that next level. I know it's hard to raise private money for real estate deals the way that the economy's been over the past few years. There are probably properties in your portfolio right now that are either losing money or at best break even, and you're trying to figure out how to turn them into winners. Or you're thinking to yourself, dude, I just want to be able to go on vacation without my business all being on my shoulders. Not having the time freedom or the financial freedom that you thought real estate was going to give you, I see it over and over and over again. But I've got the solution to every single one of those. Legacy Family Mastermind. This is a group of high-level commercial real estate investors that can help you break through every single one of those bottlenecks and help you get to that next level. I mean, you know the saying that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Here we are. If you are serious about scaling your rental portfolio, we are here for you. This is the group to do it with. We would love to help you on that journey and design the exact life that you want to design so that way you can live it to the fullest. The next step is simple. Just schedule a call with my team at the link below and we'll see if it's a fit, because I want to see you sitting at the table with our Legacy family. Let's go build some wealth together. Well,
Yeah.
dude, you're personally aware, you're socially aware. Say, hey, listen, this can serve some other people, dude. It just doesn't serve me, right? And like I don't drink a lot, but if I do drink, I usually have a lot of drinks, right? And I've even dialed that back. I'm like, my body legitimately cannot handle it. I just turned 40 this year, and like my body can't handle a hangover the next day. And so I'll be like, dude, I just cap it at 2 drinks. If I have a drink, I cap it at 2. Otherwise, my body can't handle it the next day. Nobody even bats an eye at it, you know?
Well, somebody like me, I can't just have 2 drinks though. I
Yeah, yeah.
start with like
Because then it
1 or
starts
2,
turning
and
on, right?
that switch gets flipped. But the next thing I would say, Tim, is you got to hone that energy, because I look at people who have an addictive personality. It's actually a gift. I mean, it's a gift or a
For
curse. It's
sure.
how you hone that energy. So here's my daily
If
routine.
it's spent on something productive, right? So
You have to.
how do you allocate it towards something productive?
It's constructive or destructive. You got to hone that energy. It's the same energy, but what I've been doing, which has completely changed my life, is my daily routine, bro, and it is non-negotiable. I do this 7 days a week. I'm going to fill you in here real quick, but this is that addictive personality. It is that like relentless, I will not quit, I will not stop, I will run through walls type of mentality. So every single day, Tim, I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning right now. As soon as I get up, I walk over to the Keurig thing in my house and I brew a coffee, but I don't drink the coffee. I got to earn the coffee. So I brew it, so it's waiting there for me. Go right over to the shower, ice cold shower, bro. 4 in the morning. It feels like daggers digging through my skin, and I love it. And the purpose of that is that I don't know if there's any physical benefits to the whole cold plunge, and maybe there is, maybe I don't know the science behind it. But what it does, it gets me to face my first like fear and anxiety of the day. I'm like, I don't want to do this. This is insane. But I do it every single day. As soon as I get out, dry off, throw some shorts on, 100 push-ups. Boom. I did 80 unbroken today. And when I first started this, I was doing sets of 10, bro. And I can, it's just you build it up and you feel good about that, but you go from ice cold. So now you're moving your body, you get your oxygen moving, you get your blood flowing, you're feeling good. Now I earned my coffee, go back over to the Keurig, and now I start taking my first sips of coffee and I jump right into journaling. Now, a lot of us, Tim, we've been through every single coaching program and mastermind, and we've all heard journaling is beneficial. Write down things you're grateful for. I don't get a lot of value from that, because that turns into this chore of like writing things. I'm grateful for the sun. I'm grateful for my wife. I'm grateful for all these things. Of course, you're grateful for this stuff, right? So, what I do, and I'll just tell you like it is, I have it written down. In fact, I have it right over here. I write down, where am I being a fucking bitch, bro? Where am I just weak? Where am I being afraid? And I write this down. And what it does for me is it shines light and awareness. Like you just said, awareness is so powerful. And
Mm-hmm.
it shines awareness on like where I'm playing small. It could be these tough conversations. I just had a tough conversation before I jumped on this podcast with you. And it's something I wrote down earlier today. But when you write that awareness, like where am I playing small? Where am I feeling fear? Now, when that moment actually comes up throughout the day, you've already shined light on it. You've already determined who you're going to be in this moment. So it's not this like you just knee jerk anything. It's very much aware. So I write down where I'm playing small, and then I face those fears throughout the day. And then after I do that journaling, it only takes about 7 minutes. I go right to the gym and I do 200 burpees every single day. I've been doing burpees for years, bro. Every single day. That's my thing. I do burpees, and then I do running, and then I go back to the house. It's about
When
7
you do a
a.m. at that
burpee, do you
point.
put your chest all the way onto the ground or
100%, bro.
okay. Okay.
100%.
All right. So it's one of those kind of burpees. All right.
It's the real, and I jump over a barbell. So I have a barbell with weights on it, because
Oh,
I want to
really?
be like, yeah, you
And
got
then
to
you
jump
jump over.
over
Yeah,
a little
because some
hurdle
people,
there. Yeah,
man,
make a
they
little
just get
hurdle.
back up and they just get, I,
Yeah. So
I've
I'm,
seen it.
I'm
I've seen it.
I used to post about my burpees, but then I realized I was only doing this shit for external validation, bro. Everything I do and everything I'm sharing with you is completely for me. It's completely honing that switch energy into productivity. So I don't post about this. I used to, oh, look how many days in a row, and it's all this validation and all this bullshit. But then I make my way back to my house. I'm feeling good. Obviously, the blood's flowing, oxygen, and I help. I help with twins. I got baby twins at home, and we spent 5.5 months in the hospital when these twins were born. They were preemies. One of my girls has CP. She had 2 brain surgeries, bleeding in her brain, and we dealt with all this. To this day, she's got some developmental delays and whatnot. It is what it is. I'm most disappointed about that situation because I was drinking the whole time during that hospital time. I remember being in the hospital just fucking hungover, bro. And like, I hope they don't smell it on me. I was drinking a lot, bro. You probably don't realize it. A lot of people don't for years and years, like since I was in high school, bro. It's been like my closet thing. But yeah, I come home and I take care of the kids, and I'm just focused on being the best version of myself for myself first and foremost, and then obviously be the best husband I possibly can and be the best father I can be. I just don't, I want my kids to be proud of me, bro. I want Lindsay to be proud of me. I don't want to be this soft ass dude. I go to these
Mhm.
kids' functions. You got kids too. I'm not like trying to be a hater right now, but I look at men our age, bro, and men have just given up. It's just become this social norm of like, oh, I got the dad bod and I'm gonna play fantasy football and guzzle down beer and eat wings. I'm not that fucking dude, bro. I'm
Mhm.
just not that guy. I just can't even hang in that environment. I'm just an oddball. So I just want my family to be proud of me, and I will be relentless every single day in personal development, in my physical health, in my relationship, in my business until I die. And I will never quit.
Have you found, and I love it, man. Have you found the personal accountability is difficult, or do you have an accountability group? Are there people that you go work out with? Are there people that uh, um, I mean, because here's the thing: massive change doesn't happen unless the pain is so
Yes.
difficult. The pain is
Yes.
so hard, which seems like the situation that you were in, and you just kind of hit a spot of like, dude, this is too painful, right? The
Yes.
way my body looks is too painful. The way I'm behaving, the way I feel, the way I'm showing up or not showing up for my kids and my wife and my business, and all the pain all accumulated at one point, and it just, dude, knocked you on your ass. You can make a change in that situation. In order to maintain the change, have you been able to hold yourself fully accountable because you just, dude, just dialed in now mentally, or
It's all
do you,
me, bro. It's all me. There's
so you don't
no
have an
group,
accountability group or anybody that you're
nothing.
talking to? You're
Yeah,
just like,
in
no,
fact,
this
I
is it.
go.
But
Oh,
I'm
go
sure
ahead.
Lindsay's a supporter of it, and I'm sure she's like, listen, you get your time in the morning. I got the girls until you get back from the gym, and then
You know
and
it.
then you have a good partnership in that regard.
You're a parent. You get it. Is you got to do the trade-off and the time. And if you don't
Yeah,
have a solid, bro, how's your wife and you guys doing? You guys thick as thieves? I mean, you guys been working on your thing. Everything good in your
yeah,
world?
yeah. Here, I would say the first 10 years trying to figure stuff out, right? And over the past like two, been really, really good in that uh dude, she's like all support. Like before it was like, well, Tim, we need you to do this. Tim, we need you to do this. And I'd go to work and I'd work for 8, 10, 12 hours a day as I'm building the business. And then I'm still expected to do 50% of all the kid stuff in the
I
afternoon or when
know.
I get home, right? And it gets really difficult in order to like support and provide as well as be responsible for taking out the trash and early on cutting the grass and cleaning up toys and taking doing splitting bedtime 50-50. And it's like Kate's really like shown up in a big way to support on all that stuff. And then guess what? I want to show up more because she's showing up more.
Amen.
And then it doesn't feel like it's being put on you. It feels like you're collaborating. Now you're in this thing together, which is a really cool place to be in our relationship.
We have to have the supportive partner in your life. And going back to what I would say to somebody who's like considering quitting drinking and whatnot, um, if your partner continues to partake, and let's pretend that's my situation. Lindsay's a dial, I'm a switch, right? She still drinks a glass of wine. That is her routine and that's her thing. But she's the utmost supporter of me in the personal development and the business of what I'm doing. She's seen everything that we've been cleaning up. It is going to be impossible to be the best version of yourself without a supportive partner. And you know what? We both probably know. I know for a fact, I know like at least three people. These are Lindsay's, some of Lindsay's friends, they're in relationships they shouldn't even be in, bro. I mean, people get so complacent, and that's a tough one too. Thank God I got
Well,
the
the pain's not
relationship.
painful enough, right? And
Yes,
the stories in our head when things are just kind of quasi okay, the stories in our head are usually worse than the current situation. Like, oh well, what if I break up with this guy and he's a jerk? What if I become this cat lady and I'm 90 years old and I die alone, right? Like that's not what's going to happen, but that's a story that people tell themselves, right? Or that's a story that ends up coming into people's minds of like, oh, well, if I have this tough conversation with this investor, they're going to call the SEC or something and I'm going to go to jail. Like, no, they're going to say, how do we work together? Hey, let me connect you with a resource. But we create these wild stories in our heads that take us down a path of not wanting to do the semi-difficult thing because we think it's going to be way worse afterwards. And I think that's, and the idea of pursuing pleasure is not enough, right? It's got to be so painful in order for people to actually make a change.
The I'm very blessed and very grateful for Lindsay. And if I didn't have a supportive partner, I think I would have to leave her. Like for me personally, the alcohol thing was such a big thing for me, bro. It was holding me back so much. Where if I didn't have a supportive partner, where if she was like, "Why do you drink? You could have a couple." This, if she didn't know I was like all in, but she's witnessed it, bro. I mean, she's witnessed more than I care to admit, right? I mean, it's just crazy. She's seen me just hammered, pass the fuck out, and the whole deal. So she's very supportive because she's seen me in my worst. So it's like she doesn't offer it to me. But if I had a partner who was like, still trying to lure me in a little bit, I would have to leave that
Just have a drink
relationship.
with me, right? Yeah, Dave,
Yeah, because
just
that
hey,
would be
hey, just it's one glass of wine. It's gonna be
it's
fine.
their
Or
own insecurity. If somebody was so
yeah,
insecure with their own drinking, they
good
don't want to
point.
drink alone. They don't, they want to
Yeah,
be like, "Whoa, why don't you just join me in my misery? Misery loves company."
yeah,
I
yeah.
would not be able to stay in that marriage. I'm sorry. And this is the conversation. Lindsay knows it, bro. It is so important to me because the path that I'm on right now, Tim, I can make a massive impact, not only for myself and my family and my kids. Bro, just this podcast. I bet you somebody's going to hear this and it's like, bro, I'm giving you permission to be the best version of yourself. I'm
Yeah.
giving you permission right now. You have permission to know you are not alone. You're not the only one out there who's struggling with stuff. And now you have a way that you can actually tell people. But as soon as I removed all the instant gratification, all the external validation, bro, this is some serious work that I had to be brutally honest with myself. I used to stir so much shit up online, and that's just to get love. It's my own insecurity. I want people to like me, bro. I got all my validation from likes, comments, subscribers, and views. Now I get all my validation from the action that I put in every single day, relentless, 7 days a week, bro. God doesn't care what day of the week it is. Like you've
Hmm.
got to put out every single day. I look at it like an altar, bro. And you're either showing up to this altar with action and gratitude, or you're showing up to the altar with excuses. It's just run rampant. In fact, I coach people, you coach people, right? I don't even know. Dude, it drives me insane. I want to grab people by the throat and be like, this is all you need to do. You've got to move though. Like,
Hmm.
if I could figure out one thing, Tim, it's like to move people into action. And I think it's like has to do with you're saying the pain isn't great enough for so many people. There's so much complacency and it drives me insane, bro.
No, I agree. I agree. It's what have you done on the social media side of things in order to make some changes? Like you had mentioned that the likes and these algorithms are meant to release endorphins. And dude, I just read a study. I flip out about it regarding the kids, um, and thinking about how these kids who were not raised without social media, like we have something to compare it to of what real connection and real life and playing outside and all the fun stuff that we did growing up before we were introduced, you know, in our 20s or whatever to social media. And so we have a before and after comparison. These kids don't have that. And the study that I just read is that social media is stealing the joy from childhood. It's literally reducing the joy of childhood because the scrolls and the clicks and the likes and the comments and all that stuff, there's these little endorphins, right? That end up, and there's all science behind it. These little endorphins, and it stimulates the same as a connection, as getting a hug, as getting a high five, as hitting a baseball and getting a base hit. And they get these little stimulations where it then suppresses their excitement and their joy in anything else in life, right? They get these little micro doses, these little micro hits of endorphins while they're scrolling social media, so much so and so frequently that it makes them stale, and uh, it just kind of like desensitizes them. Not kind of, it does. It desensitizes them to all other joys in life. And like
You
my
know what?
daughter wants a cell phone. I'm like, absolutely effing not. You can hate me right now, but at least you feel something, because you're not going to feel anything once you get a friggin' phone. It will steal your joy, steal your emotion, completely desensitize you from anything in life. And dude, like, how have you unplugged from that? Because dude, I'm like days away from deleting certain social media or like unfollowing a lot of stuff. But the algorithms just keep on showing it, which sucks because we built our businesses on social media and there's so much good value that can come from it. But like, I don't even see my friends on social media anymore. It's a fucking sponsored ad every third thing that I look at, you know? And now it's like every other thing that I look at. So how have you like unplugged or overcome the connection to social media?
You know what? Everything you just described of what's happening to the children with social media, the desensitization, right? And just you know, basically checking out a reality and you're like into these pleasure centers on our screens and stuff like that. It's the same thing that's happening to men with pornography, bro. Let's keep it real. That's what's happening to a lot of fucking men. And guess what? I know for a fact men struggle with porn because I coach two of them. You know, I coach personally two men whose marriages are absolutely struggling because they're addicted to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm no angel. I did it for years. I used to look at it and stuff like that too. I cut all of that out too. When I say cut out all instant gratification and vices and, the alcohol, I look at that as like the same levels. Like, I just don't even want to tread in any water that provides me anything that's going to cause me any bit of shame, regret, or embarrassment. Right. It's not a vice unless it causes you shame, regret, and or embarrassment. And I work out with a guy's great guy, ripped guy, and he's like, I don't care about drinking. And I'm like, yeah, that's because you feel no shame or regret about it, right? I drink a lot of coffee. Is that a vice? Does it provide me instant gratification? Yes, it does, but there's no shame and regret about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would also, just speaking to the men out there, if you're looking to be the best version of yourself, I would highly consider removing that from your life. It will improve your relationship. It'll improve your life all around, because anytime you do something that carries with it that little shame, that karma, right? It's that shame and regret. That shit weighs you down. And a lot of us, the lowest frequency we can be at, Tim, like the lowest vibe, is that shame and regret. And a lot of us don't have this big thing in our life that we're shameful or regret about, but a lot of us have 1,000 little things that we just carry around like a weighted vest, bro. And that's one of them. So something that has changed my life is removing all vices, including that. I wasn't planning on getting down that road, but I guarantee somebody listening to this can be like, he's kind of right.
No, for sure, dude. Well, it brings up a point of growth can come from removing things, right?
Dude, that's the number one thing. We live in a deductive world, bro. When we're born,
Well, we live in an additive world of what
correct.
society says, but the
Yes.
real growth comes from removing all this
Correct,
nonsense.
bro. Yes, you're speaking my entire freaking thesis here. We
Yeah.
are bombarded every single day with every single advertisement online and every periodical and newspaper. You need this, you need this pill, you need to look this way. Add this to your life and it's going to change your life. Add this, add this. But we actually live in a deductive world. It is not what you add, it's actually what you remove. Because when
Mm-hmm.
you're born, I'm not a religious guy, but I'm a spiritual guy. And it's like, look, we're all spiritual beings having a human experience. You're connected to something higher. I don't know what it is. We can call it Yahweh, Jesus, Buddha. It's all just names for the same thing, whatever that is. But you were born, you're a part of something much bigger. So you're already enough. And then we start piling the shit on. We start
Mm-hmm.
piling on all this external. We think we're addicted to this external, and we just completely lose touch from within. So the more when we can remove things from our life and take ourselves back in, it builds self-confidence, it builds self-worth. When you remove the stuff that provides you instant gratification, then you're like, I'm enough, bro. I'm enough as I am. And that is real self-confidence.
I love that.
That's the truth, bro. So yes, we're on the same page with that. When it comes to my own social media, bro, man, I used to be the worst. So I used to post shit that would purposefully trigger people, right? Oh, let's talk about Black Lives Matter, or let's talk about Trump, or let's talk about something good, bad. I didn't care about choosing sides. I cared about how many people can I trigger. right? Because I was so insecure with myself. I needed those likes. I needed the validation. I want to see how many comments I can get. I want to rub people the wrong way. That was my sick, twisted, sadistic way of getting energy from other people, from getting love. When I've been able to take my work inside, like we're talking about doing, you need the external validation less and less. So I think that's been the biggest thing. And in fact, if you go to my social media, man, there's more. It was funny. I was at a birthday party, like I said, over the weekend. Somebody I haven't seen came to me. They're like, "You post a lot on social media." I got a virtual assistant, bro. I don't post at all, right? It's my work. I'm a creator, not a consumer. I'm far more of a creator than a consumer at this point. But where I create is YouTube. So I do YouTube videos 3 days a week, and it's like fully authentic, everything that you're getting, and I apply it to business on YouTube, the Cream Real Estate. But and then my VA takes clips from that and like creates shorts and stuff like that. But I don't even pay attention to it anymore. And I think I just need it much less. I need way less of that external validation because I've taken so much of my work inside.
I love it, man. I love it. And I think that's an important piece to understand is that you go out and create content on social media. It's a great marketing medium,
Of course.
but the consumption of it, dude, I saw over 50%. It's estimated that over 50% of all content online is now fake. It's all made by either AI
Bots.
or
Yeah,
bots
bro.
or like it's all fake content and none of it's real. And dude, the algorithms know what you click on, what you just stop scrolling at for an instant, for an extra second, and it shows you a bunch more of that kind of stuff, man. It's no, it's trouble. And I think the vice thing and just removing anything in your life that's negative. Like for me, on the drive over here to the office today, I'm listening to a song. I was like, I don't like the way that this song makes me feel. It's about like getting back at an ex, right? Is some Morgan Wallen song. It's a popular song. And I'm like, dude, I don't like thinking about that or like I removed it from the playlist, and it got added in when the whole album got added in or whatever. And and I looked at my playlist and it's like all my playlist is positive stuff. I remove anything that's about
As you
anything
should.
negative, yeah, like stupid, acting like an idiot, womanizing, drugs, like any of that kind of stuff, because I only want uplifting, positive influences. Like whether we realize it or not, like music, at least to me, is very. It influences my behavior, or it influences my feelings, and influences my emotions pretty considerably. So I'm like, I only want uplifting, positive stuff, and I only want my kids listening to that as well. And
As you should. And many people have said this. It's a famous quote. I think like Rutherford B. Hayes was the first one to say it, but like your conscience is the authentic voice of God. A lot of people have said this. Like your conscience is, that higher self, that soul version of you pulling
mm,
you. That's why you only want positive, because that's what you are, bro. That's what you are. And anything that's not in alignment with that is going to make you kind of feel dirty, bro. It's
yep,
going to kind of make you feel like shit. So if you could continue to do that, and if we can all continue to make decisions based on, are we in alignment with our higher self? Are we in alignment with this desired reality, with this higher version of ourself that we're creating, right? Because we're all creators at the end of the day. If we can stay in alignment by only focusing in and only letting things in that are in alignment, that make us feel uplifted, that make us feel inspired, you're on the path, bro. You are like absolutely on the path. So that's something I've done, is just same thing, bro. Remove anything that puts me into this negative frequency. So it's a boring life. It's like a militant life over here, bro. I'm like living the same day over and over again. My meals, bro, I focus in on what food I'm eating. I eat the same things every single day, non-negotiable. It's just like crazy, right? But I'm vibrating at a super high frequency. I'm accomplishing so much, and it's just the way, it's just in alignment with that higher self that I'm creating. That's where
I
I'm at.
love it, man. No, I love it. I think that's a big point, right? If there's things going on, and that's a big takeaway in this, is that if there's things going on in your life that you're not vibrating at the right frequency with, it's got to go, right? I think Da
Yes.
Vinci's got a quote. It's perfection isn't. It's something along the lines of perfection isn't achieved by not being able to add on anything more to either a painting or he's talking about that. It's by or a sculpture. It's by not being able to remove
Correct.
anything else, right? Like once everything else is removed and you've got this core, like that is what true perfection is. And
It's
I
what
think
it
that's
is.
something that we should all be striving a little bit more for. And the whole minimalism idea of stuff and materialism and getting rid of stuff and materialism has been a big movement of mine personally in my own life over the past like 3 or 4 years of like, I don't need all this stuff, dude. Not only is it not valuable, but it adds more strife to your life than anything else. Like now I got to pay for, like I got jet skis. Now I got to pay for the registration on them. I got to pay for the insurance on them. I got to pay to get them cleaned. I got to pay to get them maintained. And it takes thought and brain power and brain calories in order to then go. That takes me away from hanging out with the fam, or away from going for a hike, away from meditating, away from going for a jog on the beach, like because I'm thinking about this other stupid shit that doesn't even matter. That, by the way, I could go and rent once a month for $400 for how often I use these things versus
It's so
spending
funny.
45 grand on them. And so like there's a lot of things like that I think we've accumulated in life over the past 5 years, where there's just been all this fat that has been deposited into our physical bodies, our relationships, our health, our businesses, into our just social lives, that just needs to be trimmed and needs to be
Bro,
removed. And you've done a
I have
great job of it.
trimmed the fat not only on my body but in my business, bro, and then in my habits, in my hobbies. And it's funny what you're saying is like, yeah, it takes thought and this and that. Like sometimes I feel like our wives don't understand that like cognitive work takes a lot of freaking energy. Like sometimes we've all been there where it's like you come home, it's like, well, what do you do at the office all day? I mean, what are you thinking and looking at spreadsheets and writing things down? That's not even hard. You don't even work. Like, yo, this is the hardest work. I have the hardest work,
Yeah.
cognitive work, thinking. Even you as being a creator with your podcast and things, you got to think of things. You got to like be creative. So sometimes I think that's funny. You come home to your wife and they expect like I had a hard day. It's like you don't understand. Like it's
Yeah.
yes, it's a lot of thought and not like physical. We're not laying bricks, but bro, it takes a lot out of us. And that's another thing, man. The more we could remove and not have to waste our precious energy on this fucking bullshit, bro.
Yep.
Um, and it allows us to actually create in areas that are going to serve others, right? And that's
No,
the
man.
highest vibration is service to others.
I love it, dude. I love it. So I'm sure, dude, and I love having a conversation with you. It's easy to just kind of riff and chat and see where it goes. And I think there's been so many good takeaways in this podcast. Like where can people get more information? Where can they dive into learning more about you, from you, about your journey? And if they want to go and they're like, hey, this is me. I need a little bit more Dave in my life, so that way I can have the permission in order to go and cut this other garbage out and clean up my priorities and really get the clarity and focus that they're looking for.
Send me a DM. I'm not too big for my britches. I'm on Insta, IG. I reply to every single DM. And that's at the real Dave P. And I'm on YouTube, The Cream Real Estate Investors, and I do videos 3 times a week. And this is exactly what I'm talking about: being the best. It's a real estate channel, and we talk a lot about real estate. But everything that needs to be said about real estate's been said over the last several years. So it's a lot of personal development right now because that's what we're going through right now. We are going through a contraction phase. We're very authentic about it. What I thought was the biggest misery in my life, Tim, which was these mistakes and going into default and having to pay off debt. This was the hardest time. It's actually turning into the biggest blessing because so many people get value from just being authentic and sharing the shit that we're going through. And we talk a lot about it and being the best version of yourself to just tackle anything in front of you. I get DMs every single day, man. And it's like, it's the best. I get more love now than when I was posting things to trigger people when I was trying, right? When I was trying to post things to get attention. Now I get more attention, but I get the real attention from people who are struggling with everything, bro. We all got shit going on at the end of the day. So I'm available to have these conversations, and Instagram at the real Dave P, and check us out on YouTube, The Cream Real Estate Investors.
Awesome, brother. Well, dude, I'm proud of you. You've made a big
Thank you.
transformation. It's amazing to see, and I'm excited to see you in person at sometime
Yep.
sooner than later, hopefully. So, Appreciate you being here, brother. We'll make sure that everything's tagged in the show notes, and we tag you on social as we cut this up, and we're gonna get a lot of content from it and a lot of really good value because of it. So, dude, thank you so much for being here, Dave. Appreciate you guys being here at the Legacy Podcast. We're here every Sunday. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for having me.